So how many colors do you need to create a compelling piece of art? It's a lot less than you think. Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. On this channel, I teach you the techniques, tips, hacks, and history to help you become a better artist. And hey, if you get value out of this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Now, we've all seen gorgeous black and white illustrations, and I always say, if you can make it work in one color, you've really done something. And we all know that you can mix up virtually any color using red, yellow, and blue. And you may have heard of the Zorn palette, where he made exquisite paintings, basically using 4 tubes of paint. He had white, he had ivory black, he had vermilion red, and he used yellow ochre. Splendid, beautiful work using that stripped down palette. I even read about a World War II combat illustrator that traveled all through Europe with a limited kit in a bag on his hip, doing what looked like virtually full color illustrations of battlefields and scenes from the war. And he did this using basically a burnt sienna and an ultramarine blue watercolor. Just really beautiful work.
Very interesting.
But today I want to talk a bit about working with the stripped down palette of 2 colors or 1 color in black and white. Now, the 20th century was the century of the magazine. There were thousands of marquees out there. And printing a magazine then, as it is now, can be very, very expensive to do. Printing a piece of art in 2 colors was a great way to inexpensively add some color to the interior of the magazine. And this technique was used quite a lot in the 20th century. Now, printing technology is not the same today, what with print on demand and digital printing and who knows what all else they've got now. Quite often, a magazine would spend their big bucks on the full cover glossy cover and then save money by printing in 1 or 2 colors on the inside. If you were a working illustrator in the 20th century, I guarantee you would have been called upon to create one of these pieces that could be reproduced in 1 color and black. Here's an example from Norman Rockwell from the early years of the Saturday Evening Post, where even the cover was printed in 2 colors. But to me, the real master of this is 20th century illustrator Mead Schaefer. Look at this exquisite piece done in black and red. Any whites used would have been acquired by letting the paper come through the ink. But to create this, I'm sure he used a combination of black, white, and red. So technically, you could say he used 3 tubes of paint, but the printer used 2 colors of ink. Now, like I said, this was very common, but some artists could do this with varying degrees of subtlety and sophistication over other artists. Some came off looking very postery, still beautiful, but kind of postery. While other pieces by an artist with maybe a more sophisticated eye come off virtually feeling like a full color piece, even though they've just used black and 1 other color. Now, sometimes they would use black and red. That was predominantly the one that was used most. But a lot of times they would use black and blue or black and green. These made for very unique illustrations, especially if they chose to use a color that maybe didn't really even fit the scene. So first choice when doing a nighttime scene might be to use blue, but some illustrators would choose to make a statement and use a green or the red and still create a nighttime scene, letting the light and the shadows tell you it's nighttime. So why does this work? Well, it's a combination of the skill of the artist controlling the tonal values as well as their skill in controlling color temperature. For instance, you could use the darks of the blacks and the grays for the cool of shadows and use the warmth of the green or the red, for instance, for the warmer areas of the piece. And this can really bring a piece to life because to the eye, it makes it feel like there's more colors going on in it than there actually are. This is something I really want to strongly suggest that all of you artists out there begin to look into and study, is controlling where your viewer looks by controlling the color temperature. A perfect example of this is my friend Tom Fritz's Dragster painting, where he controlled where he wanted your eye to go by making it the hottest point in the piece. Now, I'm gonna say something controversial, and I'm not saying this to hurt anybody's feelings or to insult anybody, so don't send me any nasty notes. But I am personally not overly impressed with photorealistically rendered paintings. And I speak of this through experience because I was trained as a photorealistic airbrush product illustrator in Detroit, where I would paint automobiles and parts of automobiles and cutaways of shock absorbers and crazy things like that, and they were photorealistically done. But I want to say that I think being able to paint that way is important, and especially as a technical exercise, you want to be able to realistically capture whatever it is your mind sees, whatever vision you create, you want to be able to capture that on your canvas. And to be able to do that, your skills have to be up to the level of painting photorealistically. But what moves me, what I want to see is, I want to see some design choices. I want to see the artist's personality. I want to see some statements made with unique use of color. I want to see purposefully made textures of the paint. I want to see the artist's hand, how that person laid the strokes. I want to see the human imperfections. This is what brings a piece to life for me, and this is what really moves me. And working in a stripped down palette will force you to make strong design choices. You won't be limited or a slave to your photo reference. In fact, I would say if you're using photo reference, pull it into Photoshop and take the color out of it. Make up your own colors. Use this as an opportunity to express who you are as an artist. So why is this important to us today? Well, we do still have a number of these printing limitations with us today. If you've ever been called upon to design a t-shirt or maybe a poster that's going to be silk screened, although this is changing with the advent of digital printing. But also, I'm a firm believer that if this is your chosen profession, then you need to learn as much as you can, not just about painting, but about the way humans see. You need to know the limitations of your mediums, and this will allow you to better create what you can see with your mind's eye. You'll be able to make a unique statement with your work and be in complete control of what you create, rather than being limited and bound by your photo reference or what you don't know. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you got some good information out of this. And if you have any comments or questions, post them down below in the comments. I'll be happy to get back with you on that. So until next time, go make something cool. Owens out.